This is the birth chart of a friend of mine since grade school, and she was telling me last night she had burnt herself very badly with some hot oil, and her path has been to actually become an herbalist, making her own salves and potions. And she was also able to use one of her oil salves of Comfrey and Aloe to very quickly heal the burns she received. So is perfect timing for me to do this for her, as some things lined up with my chart as well. But this is the Cancer full moon that is conjunct Mars, and it is also making a trine to Neptune, and I think of the sextile to Uranus. Yes. So here we are. We have our full moon at 24 degrees 59 minutes, and that is where the sun is in Capricorn. It was at 22 degrees yesterday at noon, so between 22 and 23 last night when she burned herself. Her progress chart has a lot more, but right now we'll just focus on this one. She actually moved to a new state a few years ago to be with her family, and here you can see the asteroid for her state. In 7th house, other people, Libra, the other people in her life, and it makes a connection to her legal name. Here, Cancer, home and family, 5th house, children. She moved to be closer to her daughter and her grandchildren. Mercury, young children. Grandparents ruled by Capricorn here. And it also makes a positive trine to her 4th house area here in Gemini, which is ruled by that Mercury. And of course would touch her icy emotional foundation, roots, family. Here, she also has many family members that live there, right around that area. And it's opposite, of course, her midheaven. Her ultimate goals in life, her career, starts her career house here. So, she is a Aquarius rising and a 12th house Aquarius sun. So, she is ruled by Uranus and Neptune, both involved in this full moon. Her progressed rising is in Taurus, ruled by Venus. And it's very funny that Venus was at 9 degrees 11 minutes yesterday at noon. 911. She had an emergency that she handled herself. So that happened to be sitting right here at her Vesta, which is the caretaker and the holder of ancient secret wisdom. In her case, it's the herbalism. And her location, which is a community-based thing that I've discovered to put into the charts. So Venus is right there. Venus, of course, rules beauty and the body, skin. It also esoterically is our spiritual purpose, what we came in for. And her natal Venus is in the 1st house of Pisces. Pisces is related to the metaphysical. It's related to things like she does, and she's very psychically sensitive as well. She's actually the reason I started digging into charts when I started learning astrology, was because she had migraines all the time, and her health asteroids are very prevalent in her chart. That is part of her path. Even her north node here is in Aquarius. Aquarius is for the collective and the community, friends, groups of people that we belong to. And Uranus ruling that is going through her third house in Taurus, ruled by Venus. And her third house, her family has been going through a lot of things the last couple of years as well, health related, and a lot of turbulence that you would expect with Uranus. And yeah, so a lot of unusual things, difficult things with the family. Now, Saturn here is the other one I have starred that connects to her family and the young children in her state and her legal name. And Saturn is co-ruler for Aquarius. And Saturn is our life lessons. It can restrict. It's where we have to work really hard, which she's had to do since she's moved to this property. And, to really apply ourselves and mature ourselves into what we came here to do. So her natal Saturn is at 29 degrees 39 minutes here. And that's in Taurus. And the nodes have just changed to Pisces and Virgo at 29:59 yesterday. So the North Node path is making a positive sextile to her Saturn in third house, which would also include me as a childhood friend, and a trine to South Node path in her health and daily routines. Some really neat things that match up to it, of course. The North Node was opposite her Pluto at 1 degree 58 minutes. South Node crossed over it not too long ago. And it did remove some people from their lives. But Pluto rules this 8th house here where her Uranus is, which rules her chart. And 8th house, it can be very troublesome. It can be very emotional. But it also rules the esoteric parts of life. Just like with her herbal healing that she's doing and learning those skills. So we have the nodes in her Pluto are connecting to her natal hands at 042, Asclepius 036, which is a healer, also related to medical issues. She does have arthritis in her hands. Used to cut hair and can't do that anymore, so I had to find something else. Aesculapia at 049, which is another of the same like Asclepius, which it can be health issues or also healer. And this one is Salvia. She had used a salve she had made of Comfrey and Aloe for healing herself. So that makes a nice positive trine to Pluto, ruling her creative genius in the 8th house with the herbal healing. And it makes a connection to her ascendant and descendant, what she came in to do for others. It makes a connection here to Salvo, which is another one I chose for Salve at 024, making a connection here. Oh, almost skipped. This one here is her nickname, and I chose the one with Fowler this time, ending it, because when she moved to this property, one of their plans was to homestead and get chickens. So, of course, she's a Fowler now. So that's opposite her natal Salvo. And I mentioned her Saturn already, so I think that's all of the yellow ones. We go next. I'll go back to the green ones with the 911 Venus, and that is sitting at her natal Venus, her Vesta, and her location, connecting to a new moon solar eclipse ahead of us, March 29th at 8 degrees 53 minutes. That's just a degree from her Chiron. Now, Chiron is the wounded healer, And in this case, it's her wounds that she healed. Burns is sitting right here at it in transit. ComCom, her natal ComCom is at 717 connecting to it. And just for lack of colors, I needed to go a little more like 7 to 10s. But for any number degree, 2 degrees either way is still a very close hit. I like them to be just absolutely direct, but I only have so many colors. So then we jump to Oileu, Oileu at 909, making a karmic quincunx to Venus. And we have Burns right opposite her Venus in her natal chart. This is her name beginning with a K, her legal name at 7:30. There was a new moon eclipse October 2nd, 2024 at 10 degrees 2 minutes opposite her Chiron and connecting to everything else in the green. Then we have transit ComCom, which is what I'm using for Comfrey, right here at her Salvia. And that takes us back around. Now, we'll do the purples. She has the oil asteroid in her birth chart right here in the first house, Pisces. Neptune does rule oils. And her name with the K, her legal name, is 551 here again. So that connects to transit Aloe. It's Alouette is the actual asteroid at 507. Right here on her south node, opposite her north node, in that 12th house Aquarius. And then we have her house number, which would be the address of the property, at 331 here connecting to it. We have Herba at 419, right here next to Vesta at 325, making that connection. Neptune, which rules the majority of her first house, and is also involved in this full moon at 442. Mercury at 505 here in Capricorn. Mercury does rule the hands. She burned her hands badly and also her chest, specifically her breast. No giggling. She is a girl. She has those. So, transit hands also at 6 degrees. Now, the software spreads these out too much, so it's hard to tell. But her north node, hands had just crossed over her north node. So, there's those connections. I skipped right over Hygeia. Hygeia is our health and how we take care of it. And that sits in her 8th house also. It's something that she's struggled with. She's had migraines since she was a child. And something that she's been transforming, trying different ways through doctors and now through the herbalism and seeing holistic doctors. So, as I said, a lot more matches up in her progressed chart, which even her progressed ascendant is 23 degrees 17 minutes of Taurus. So that matches up to where the sun was last night and connects to this full moon here. So in her natal chart, though, connecting, we have her natal Herba in 7th house, Virgo, health and healer. And we have that opposite Askalaphus, the health and healer, in her 1st house. Eris had just stationed direct on the 11th, 2 days ago. And it's conjunct Hygeia, 2423, and 2438. That's in Aries, ruled by Mars. Mars, of course, is related to burns as well, and heat, like the hot oil. And in the second house, this is her assets and her knowledge, her beliefs, her personal values and beliefs. She didn't run to the emergency room when she got burnt. She used her skills. Let's see. I love the 27s. The moon at noon yesterday was 27 degrees, 27 minutes. That one's special to me personally because that's my mother's sun degree in Aquarius. But so whenever I see that, it's awesome. And then Jupiter at 1212 is my parents' composite chart rising. So I got to see my mom and my dad in looking at this chart. But we'll go back to the 27s connecting here to Mars retrograde in Cancer in the home. Then we have it connecting to, this is her name with a K and a name word very close to our hometown where we met as kids. So I just call it K hometown name, and that's at almost 27 degrees. And then we have her maiden name, which was her name when I was a child, also at 2741, conjunct Neptune at 2729. And of course, Neptune is the oils, and Neptune is her metaphysical knowledge. She had a lot on her mind at the time she was making dinner. They were having important home conversations. And so she was probably distracted when she burned herself. It connects to her state and her road name. I have 2 asteroids I use for a road name because it's an unusual name and it starts with EL. So this is without the EL, and then I have one with the EL. Oh, I missed her house address also at 25 degrees right here with Eris, Hygeia, and her K hometown name. And let's see, what else do we have? Jupiter. Her Jupiter at 27 degrees is connecting. Jupiter's her luck and fortune, and it's in her 10th house, career, Sagittarius, higher learning. And Jupiter had just crossed back over her, I see here, opposite her midheaven career. Let's see, we have 27's Brest, asteroid Brest at 2649. And that's right opposite in transit the K hometown name, almost to the degree. And then we have her nickname with Fowler, the bird girl, chicken girl, 2611. And that's right near her natal Brest, Virgo health. So that's all of those. Okay. Now, I do want to point out that this Mars here rules her moon because she is an Aries moon. Not only was she distracted, more than likely, she might have been emotional. And that does always affect herself. I've noticed her migraines come when she's extremely stressed or emotional. So, let's see. Then we can go to her married name now. Sits in her 12th house also, ruled by Neptune. And that's at 17 degrees, 15 minutes. Her town name, actually the asteroid I use for it could also be used for her sister's nickname. So it connects there at almost 20 degrees. But her married name connects here to her part of fortune, her luck in life in Taurus, and to the road name that does start with EL. They had some struggles with the property when they first got there. They had it wasn't what they expected, and they had to make a lot of changes. It keeps them very busy. Saturn's been really keeping both of them busy on it. Lots of unexpected things. Uranus is connected to it, and they also bought it over the internet, so that's also uh, connected to Uranus. But Uranus makes that positive trine to her married name here, and that they have a lot of unexpected luck too. They work hard together. Very proud of them. So let's see. Her town and sister nickname in transit was also had just crossed over. Uh, her sister's been having a lot of problems. As I said, their whole family has been, but it all seems to be centered around her sister lately, for the most part. Um, Transit Salvia at 19 degrees also makes a connection to that. And her road at 1659, almost 17 degrees, makes a connection. So to her married name, her part of fortune, luck, and life, her road name, all of those. Is that all of that color? I do believe. Okay, so her name back here, her legal name at 20 degrees 35 minutes, also is connecting to her town and sister's nickname. Eighth house, there was a death. Very unexpected. So that's all those. If we go back to Jupiter, that just crossed over her IC, her family and her emotional foundation, back into third house relatives. Relatives and community and close environment. Then we also have that connecting to Eris that had just stationed direct, and whenever a planet stations forward or direct, its energy is much stronger. Let's see. Connecting to her Ceres. Now, Ceres is the nurturer and is a goddess of agriculture and grains, and in this case, like with the Comfrey and Aloe, the agriculture, the plants. I probably should have put flora in here. But anyway, once I start putting too many in, there's a lot more I could put in. Once I start doing that, then I really get lost. So then that Ceres here in Aquarius, she has been for quite a while now making these for her community. Connects to her Aesculapia in the 11th house. That is also ruled by Uranus and Aquarius. Capricorn is our career, our business, how we make money. Her midheaven, her highest hopes and dreams, public self, reputation, connected to her location in the community. 7th house for other people. Connects to her maiden name. Ceres is just opposite her maiden name in the 6th house of health. And that takes us all the way around to there. Let me review again. I forgot that Chiron and Salvo in transit are right near each other. And that's opposite her Uranus and her town name. And her sister, she's feeling very wounded over her sister's losses. But also the wounded healer with the salve. Yeah, there's another one. It's so light colored I can barely see it on my screen. It connects to her Ceres here. And her Ceres is in the 6th house of health. That's the service we do for others. It's the workhouse. In Leo, it'd be heart-centered. And Ceres is related to the agriculture and grains and nurturing and care of others. And the self. Okay. Okay, even though I put the 2 eclipses in from last fall and this spring up ahead. There's a lot. We still have Uranus to station direct, which I warned her about at the end of this month, and Jupiter goes February 4th. We'll go back across here. She knows I won't predict, so we just kind of take it day by day, and she let me look at this for her. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to move on to a second video with her progress chart while I'm at it.